Hey everyone, welcome to 509 Banter Brothers. I'm Josh, my co-host Zach, but unfortunately, due to illness, Zach's not here tonight, so we're gonna get this going without him. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing to our channel. We're gonna be having guests on our show. We're gonna be talking about life, things that are going on, and hopefully not making things too weird. Please keep a lookout for our first episode, which is right now. And this week's episode is my good friend, lifelong friend, Andrew Miller. Um, Also was supposed to be here with Sean Waters, but unfortunately, he had to go to do some technical difficulties. So, Andrew, why don't you introduce yourself, say what's up to everybody?
How's everybody doing? I'm
Um,
Andrew. I'm a small town person that ended up going to a bigger city, and I've just kind of grown. I ended up starting out. I had hit a rough. Started out with just moving in with my brother. Me and my twin brother ended up getting a place when we ended up moving down here, and I've literally branched out all the way up to I've got a wife, three beautiful children. I've got my own house. I've got a business, so things are
you're living
growing.
life. You're living life. So, first question is, what was it like growing up in Omak? Living in a small town. What are some of your best and toughest memories that you've gone through?
Well, so one of the big things that I enjoyed about small town compared to living in like a city life is I feel like you can gain like more, you can get closer to people, and
Right.
everything's around you. It's almost like having, a family like in the community instead of just living in a city. You've got, your family in your household, and then
Yeah.
everybody else is kind of around it. But I don't know. It's just I enjoyed living in a small town, and it was great while growing up. Um, I don't know. Personally, in my opinion, like, I mean, obviously, I'm raising my kids in a city, but I mean, if it were to been the right opportunity and I could have actually, had success in a small town, like job wise and just kind of in that matter, everything really. But I would rather have my kids in a small town. I mean, just it's more of a comfy feeling, more of a cozy feeling.
Right. So, it might be stereotypical, but a lot of people from a small town get stuck. They get stuck with addiction, they get stuck with, not being able to, you know, move outside of a small town. So, what do you think in your mind played the biggest role for you not to be stuck still in OMAC and moved on to do bigger and better things?
I mean, I don't know. I'm a really hard-headed person, so just kind of the fact that, I just wanted to get and break that barrier. Um, but I mean, there was a lot of things that kind of really went into play. Like I kind of like visioned like bigger opportunities in a bigger city compared to staying in a smaller. There's just a bunch of benefits. More job opportunities. There was more stuff that you could go and do. Like I mean, obviously, growing up in a small town in Omak, I mean, yeah, you had some like you could break it down to like fast food. I mean, there was a couple of fast food places, but you go to a bigger city like here, I all I was thinking about is, I can go to all these places now. I can go to all these fast food places. I can go to all these stores. I got a shopping mall that I can go to instead of just, a Walmart,
Yeah.
which is something that a lot of smaller towns, that's all they have.
Well,
So,
to be fair, Walmart, as kids, Walmart was like the go-to place. I mean,
oh, I mean, I loved
let,
it.
let's not downplay Walmart too much. I mean,
Yeah,
Walmart was still fun.
it was, and it was a good experience. And it's just one of the things, like, too, like, kind of what you just said. Like, as a kid, Walmart was great, and the small town was great. The experience was great. But
Right.
like as I got older, it's almost like same thing as, anything else when you get older. You start to outgrow stuff. And I felt like I outgrew the small town and I was ready to expand and to get into the city and just explore more options and have more opportunities and just go for it.
Yeah. So do you think that you playing sports when you're in high school also helped you get to where you're at today?
I mean, there's certain things that the sports and all that stuff, of course, that played a big role on it. I mean, like basically to dumb it down, I mean, wrestling played a big role in, like being disciplined,
Yeah, 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 definitely.
the drive of it. So, like same, I was the same in all my sports, bro. So like in wrestling and in football, like when I was in like the wrestling ring when I was wrestling or when I was on the field playing football. My whole goal, bro, even though like for football we didn't really have because it's more of a team sport, but for football we didn't really have a good football program for years. But I still wanted to reach the top. Like that's what
Right.
you want to do,
Yeah.
That's the goal is to try to be the best out there. And so I feel like that, doing sports with that aspect and then bringing it into like my business now, my family life. I want to be the best father I possibly can. I want to be the best general contractor I possibly can. Just the goal of that, like for sports, it really entangled things. But I feel
Right.
like without doing the sports, I mean, I would still have, some sort of a mindset, but I feel like it pressed it. It really helped.
Right, right. So out of wrestling and football, who do you think your biggest mentor was?
Oh, hands down. My biggest mentor was definitely my wrestling coach, which was Dewey Ives.
Yeah.
But
And why do you think it was him that had such the biggest impact on your life?
he was just I was just closer to him. Like he was just more warming. Like, and it's different too, like football. I mean, obviously from bigger city is going to be different, obviously, but from where I grew up in a small town, I mean, we had like what 30, 40, 50 people on our football team, and then our
Right.
wrestling team we had. I mean, there was seasons where we only had like 18 people, but with the difference like that, the coach obviously he has to be with all those people. But our wrestling coach, I mean, he was able to kind of pick out, because I mean, I wrestled for 15 years. I wrestled since I started when I was 5, and I knew him all the way up until I graduated high school. And I
Right.
still know him to this day. I mean, I still got him on some of my social media platforms that I talk to him and reach out to him and all that sort. So it was more of like a sports father figure. And so I was able to bond with him more and I was able to relate to him more and it impacted me more. I mean, I looked up to him growing up. So
So you took everything, like even criticism that he gave you, you took it to heart and then you applied it to whatever you were doing.
yeah,
Okay. Well, that's a good thing to have, living in a small town because I mean, not there's not too many people that, as a kid you can really look up to within the school district. It's
yeah,
not like you have like a coach, a backup coach, assistant coach, you have to find one person and really latch on to what they tell you and
yeah,
you have to implement that into whatever you're doing, whether it's sports or a math competition or a spelling bee, whatever the case may be. Um, so you were a varsity football player and a wrestler. What lessons from sports have helped you go from a wrestling and football career to a business? Like how does that transition from being this state champion to starting your own business, being successful, you know, out there grinding every single day? Like, how did that help you?
I mean, there's a lot of different things and stuff, but like wrestling, football, I mean, obviously you go through phases. I mean, you don't just go and you just wake up a state champ, like you have to practice, you have to prepare, you have to I mean, not even just like, your body, but like physically or like mentally. You have to mentally prepare for it. And so it's just taking that over, transitioning to that. I mean, I utilize a lot of that stuff with it. Like same thing with my general contracting. Like I mean, I keep mentioning it up, but I don't know that I really said it. But the business I run is we're called the Trade Migos LLC, but we're a general contracting business. We're fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Within we first started, we were just Spokane Valley, and Airway Heights. So two places off of the actual city itself, a couple suburbs. But now
Yeah.
since being in business for a couple of years, we've really branched out and we've added like three other suburbs that are branched off of it and all that stuff and everything. But I mean, I don't know. It just you know, you get the transition because you know, from wrestling and stuff, you start out with the prep. But I didn't just all of a sudden become a general contractor, bro. Like it was baby steps. Like I started out, I ended up going to a school, went through schooling, got the experience and the knowledge that I needed, and then worked my way up. I started with just a regular job in the maintenance technician field, and then I became a maintenance manager for a hotel. And then at that point, I was like, dude, I already do everything on my own. I would rather get paid what I want to get paid, my own wages, than to
Right.
take what they're offering me. So I get paid more. And being in self-employed, bro, I love it. So
And that kind of brings me to my next question is, at what point did you realize you want to start your own business? But that kind of you kind of just answered that because, you went from being a maintenance manager or maintenance person to a maintenance manager to, but maybe you can expand on it. So what specifically made you want to start your own business? Like, was it the freedom on creating your own hours? Was it the money or was it kind of everything like that?
it was a little bit of everything. So like yeah, I mean of course being self-employed, bro, like after I ended up going and I have done this business and kind of got things going. I mean, I don't think I could ever really back out other than if I were to retire and just kind of let the kids, take over
Right.
when they get old enough. But at that point, I'm still going to overlook things and, help them with stuff. But I don't know, man. It's like that portion of it just being self-employed, not having to, go off of a certain schedule, not having to take a certain amount. Like the maintenance manager, the experience was nice. When I was a maintenance technician, I was nice. I mean, I've also had other random jobs and stuff, but it just they select you at a certain pay, and there would be jobs that like the maintenance manager job I got put into. The main focus and the main reason that I ended up leaving and had the drive to want to start up a business is because I had been there for like 5 years and I ended up wanting a pay raise. And
Yeah.
I kind of threw the options out on the table. I said, okay, so I've been doing this for 5 years. I could take this amount, or I've already got the experience. I already know what I'm doing.
It
I mean,
was
I could
kind of
just
just
start my
like
own business.
taking a leap and just trying and seeing. I mean, that's what I like to tell people. I mean, if you don't know that you're not gonna make it, like if you think you're gonna fail, there's no harm in trying to just try. I mean, if you try and you fail, cool, you still tried. But
Yeah.
if you try and you succeed, then it's like, okay, if I never would have tried, I would have never succeeded. So, like this podcast, I don't know if it's gonna fail or succeed. But if it fails, then it fails. But if it succeeds, then that's where life is going to take you. As long as you're trying to get out there and make something happen and do something with your life, that's all that matters. So, I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from, where, it's just, it was a shot in the dark. You could either take the money that a corporation is offering you, or you could go out, branch on your own, make your own money, set your own quotes. I mean, it sounds like a pretty good thing. So that's why, for me personally, like doing this is like a huge leap. And, I appreciate you coming on and doing it. Here's a question I've never asked you out of our 32 years of friendship, and it's a good
Yeah.
time to ask now. But where did the name Trade Migos come from?
Okay, so when we originally started up the business, it actually, when I first went and set up our license and I ended up putting the name on there, it actually used to be the Three Trade Migos.
Yeah,
And I mean, it was going to be kind of similar off of like the Three Amigos,
yeah,
but because it used to be, it was me and my twin brother Robert. I mean, obviously you know him, but
yeah,
the people that are watching this don't. But it was me, him, and then a buddy of ours, and so there was three of us originally going to do it. Well. I mean, obviously, being a co-owner with any business, you got to be in agreement on things, and you got to be able to work things out and figure stuff out. And
yeah, yeah. You gotta
we just
definitely be
ended
able
up,
to communicate with everybody and,
yeah. And
agree
so
on
we had a lot of,
prices and what you have to agree on what direction the business is gonna be going, you know.
yep. Yeah, and so we had disagreements and stuff like that between the three of us, and so we all came upon the agreement that it would just be better if we kind of went our separate ways. But me and my brother still wanted to run the business, and so we decided to continue with it. And then with that, I mean, they're just two co-owners. I mean, why would we be the three Trade Migos?
Yeah.
So we just took the three off and we just put the Trade Migos.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but
well, I personally, I didn't even know that. I mean, you just, I feel kind of stupid, but I always thought it was called the Three Amigos.
no, yeah, it's called the Three Trade Migos, or it's called the
Trade
Trade Migos.
Migos.
Yeah, the Trade
Yeah.
Migos. But we named it that way too, because I mean, if um my grandma is actually South American, and so is my mom from Colombia, and
Yeah.
so I mean the Migos part just kind of fit in perfect. But I mean, if you take that in, I mean, it's the tradesmen. So it just it made sense. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
we just kind of went with that name.
So what do you think the biggest struggle with owning a business is? Like if you had to put it like top, like give me the top three biggest issues with owning your own business.
So, I mean, that's kind of bland. So, I mean, realistically, it just kind of really depends. But like, the way that I do the business and the thing that I think that's like, as far as the difficulties of it, is it just, with a general contracting business, you can kind of go and take different approaches, but
Yeah.
we keep everything in house. So I do all of our labor. I do the labor of it. I do all of our own taxes. I set up and schedule and do all the stuff for our insurance. I do and schedule all of our stuff for our bonding.
Yeah.
I mean, I do all that aspect too, all the back work, but I don't just do the labor. And some people can do the labor and then they hand off to CPAs and have them do like the taxes, or they have them do this, they have them do that because you get so caught up in projects. We're
So
open 24 hours a day.
do you think you're
So,
gonna be getting a CPA in the future if things, expand a little bit bigger and, blow up even more than they are right now?
and I've been asked that by a lot of people, bro. But to be honest with you, I take pride in doing everything. It's a pride thing. Like I enjoy it. Like if something happened tomorrow to where I was no longer here, I would be able to rest easy knowing the fact that I pretty much built everything by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my brother that helps me and stuff like that with the labor aspect. But I mean, he would tell you, dude, like, goes out and we do the labor, but I do all the promoting. I do all the taxes. I do all the insurance. I do all the bonding. I set everything up legally within the state.
Yeah.
I mean, I do the grow. I do all the stuff, but it's a pride thing, man. I enjoy doing it. So I would never, in my opinion, personally to me, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing for other people to do it, because it's not. Everybody's got their own approach on how they want to do things. But for
Right.
me, I personally, no matter how big I got, I like to do everything myself. And like, we're open 24 hours a day. So, even when I'm not working, when I come home and I get done with working, I'm in my books, bro. Like, filling out my stuff for my taxes. I'm studying. There's a lot to it, but I've gained that and started it's natural now.
And I think that I can see where, for your business, in my own personal opinion, is that you guys are going to get big enough to where you're going to have more employees and
Yeah,
where you're just going to be like sitting back, kicking at home, you know, and then
that's the goal.
that's going to be that's going to take up not, I don't want to say all your time, but that's going to take a majority of your time just doing the books. And I think I can see how that's going to benefit you, not even just in the short run, but in the long run also.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, that's a good thing to learn early on. I mean, for sure.
yeah. And it
And
was
if that,
tough. I mean, if I told you it was easy, bro, to do it, I mean, I'd be lying to you because it's a hard thing to do. It's not easy. Like, especially too, like there are people out there that like um, go to school for this. Like go to school to be
a tax
um,
attorney or something like
a
that.
tax
Yeah.
attorney, yeah, or like a CPA or like accounting. At least know a bunch of stuff in accounting
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And I don't know, man. Like the reason I went into being a general contractor is because like all my hands-on and all that stuff knowledge is my biggest like perk of myself.
Yeah.
I've never been a school type person, and so to like have to actually do the taxes and have to do the math and have to do the accounting, it was tough at first,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
just you learn it to where after you end up doing it for a certain amount of time, it's a normal thing. Like it's no different than for me going out into somebody's house and taking a nail through some wood. I mean, it's
It's something you
second
have
nature
to do.
now.
Yeah. 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 So let's talk about how it balances with your personal life. I mean, I don't want to get too personal just for the podcast, but
Oh
you're
yeah, you're
married
good.
with kids. How do you juggle not only going out and doing the work, not only keeping the books, not only, I mean, how do you balance everything? It must be pretty hard for you to do.
Yeah, I mean, it can be really difficult. That's one of the things too. You end up after a while, like when you first start out, because the way we started is, I didn't have, like any clientele already set up or any leads already set up ready to go. Like I had to literally go door to door and this and that and stuff. After a while, you kind of build clientele and you build repeat customers and you get all people's, giving word of mouth out. So when I first started, like it was tough juggling the whole like family business aspect of it. Like there wasn't really, in my opinion, like a 50-50 juggle. It was more of a 70-30. And so I did take away, a little bit. Thankfully, my kids are young enough to where it wasn't a really crazy impact.
Yeah.
But, like when I first got going, it was just business, 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 business. But I mean, now that we're coming up on 4 years now being in business, and so I've built like the structure now to where like I can spend time with my family, and so it evened it out now to where I mean 50-50. Sometimes it's even 60% with the family and 40% with the business. It just depends what I'm doing. It depends on if I go out for the work or my brother, for single person projects, or if it takes both of us or what. But
Right. So you think it's definitely gone easier from where it started to where you are now. So you
yeah, there's
definitely
never
have more time. like I can see how, you going out finding your own work could take away from family time. But all that hard work that you went through has, essentially has paid off by now. Because now the
Yep.
work is coming to you versus you
Yep.
going out hitting the pavement, like you said, going door to door looking for jobs. Now all the jobs are essentially just coming to you.
Yeah. Yep. And it's like I don't have to go door to door, and seek work because if you do a good job and you stay true to what you do, you get referrals from other people. So like just an example, I guess, like we've gone out and done a project for a client and like literally we've done now like an entire block on both sides just because
Of
of the
that of
fact that
that whole of the whole street, you're
of the
saying.
whole street, both sides of the whole street,
Yeah.
because of the fact that we had just started out. It started from the door to door. I went door to door. I went up there and dropped off some business cards. We got hit up by that one person on that block, and since then, we go out and do a project or whatever, whether it's an inside or outside. And like we go outside, say it's an inside project, we go outside, and the neighbors walking down the street. Hey, you guys do work? What do you guys do? Boop. Hey, would you mind scheduling? Do you guys have any openings? This, that, and it's perched, dude. But
Yeah.
it perched so
Yeah.
bad to where we had the whole block, the whole street.
Well,
So
that's something to be definitely be proud of right there.
yeah,
So do you think that there's anything on the business end which when you've since you've started to where you are now, what do you think is something that you would want your kids to understand? Like what's one good piece of advice to give your kids right now to help them in life if they say they want to start their own business and they want to go seek their own adventures, like what would you say to them in order to get them to go in the right direction?
I would just tell them, like it can be an intimidating thing. I mean, obviously, as is, anything, but it just you got to go for it. 'Cause I tell people all the time, and same thing I tell my kids, with certain things that they feel uncomfortable. If you don't try, you'll never know. So, but it may become to that point to where, say you don't try. I mean, what it would itch at what are you missing out on or what could have been? And I don't, I would tell them, I'd be like, you don't want to have what could have been or, what would the scenario have been or what could I have looked like, a couple years down the road if I would have actually done it. Go on, do it. I mean,
Yeah, like so pretty much just at least try. I mean, there's no sense in not trying to see if you can't do it.
yeah. And like I said, I started with basically nothing. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, I knew how to do the contracting work, but I didn't know how to do the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I just if you're willing to do something, you're willing to put in, and you're willing to go for something, you're gonna put in do whatever it takes to get to that point. Period.
Right.
So, I mean, you do the homework, you do whatever you need to do to
Yeah.
to to get to that point, but just I'm gonna tell them too, just don't give up. There's gonna be times where it's gonna be hard, but or you're gonna be unsure, or you're gonna be like, oh well, it's easier to quit than it is to fulfill it. And you gotta go because eventually that dark cloud is gonna be sunshine. So it's just a
Right,
matter
right.
of time.
Yeah. I can definitely see where you're definitely coming from. Um, if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice to get you to where you are sooner, what would that piece of advice be?
Probably just the fact to just be more like self-motivated like that, to get to that point because I mean I'll be the first one to tell you, when I first got to this point to start up the business, I didn't have that when I was younger. Like I was legitimately scared. Like
Yeah.
I never thought I would have ran a business or anything like that because when I had people when I was in school, we'd have people that would come in for, presentations or this or that ran businesses. And, there'd be other kids in the class, of course, that had interest, but I would be for me personally, I'd be like, I'll never get to that point. I could never do that. I could never run my own business. I don't
So
even know what I
so
would do.
so let's put into a little bit of context for the people that don't know. So from when you turned 18 and graduated from high school until when you started your own company, how many years was that?
So I started my business up, what, 2021?
And you
Yeah,
graduated high
2021.
school at 2009, right?
Yep.
So
2009. So
so so yeah, I think 11 years.
11 years. 11 years. Yep.
So so if your younger self or if you went back and told your younger self to, cut the shit and get more motivated, you literally could have had your business where it's at by the time you were 21.
I could have.
And
Yep.
and that's something that people need to know that, if you don't try right now when you're young, it's definitely going to be a lot harder to do when you're, get into your 30s,
Oh yeah. And I mean, as much as nice as it sounds, we don't nobody lives forever too. So like, and to me, 11 years, that's a big difference. I mean, that's
Oh yeah,
11 years of
that's a
That's 11
huge
years of working.
difference.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's one of the things that I would tell my younger self, just get going, get motivated. You want to be the top, you want to be the best, you want to be as high as you possibly can, you know,
Quit
go
screwing
for it. Just
around. Yeah,
actually
yeah,
do it.
yeah. So what do you think is next for Trade Migos? Like, where do you think
So,
the next step is?
I mean, there's a lot of different steps we can take. It's, I mean, kind of up in the air on what we kind of want to do next. But this year, potentially, we've already talked about hiring like actually employees on the books.
Yeah,
So having a couple of employees. Right now, we run things out of my actual location, my home location.
yeah,
But the plan is to get an actual like a building to where we can actually run stuff out of our building,
yeah,
like either a shop or like a chunk of land with a shop on it or something of that measure. That's another step we want to take. Um, I mean, it just kind of eventually it's going to end up depending, but something along those lines, just making it where it's a massive bloom.
yeah. So you can get out there and essentially the more people and a bigger location that you have, the more jobs that you're able to take on, which equals more
Yeah.
profit.
Yep.
And
More profit, you get one more.
it's funny to see, not because of you, but like just seeing a childhood friend, you know, 20 years later owning their own company. That's a big deal. Like not a lot of people are out there owning their own companies who came from a town where there's what, maybe 5,000 people.
Our
I don't
graduating
know.
class is only like 40 people or 30 people, I think, or
Yeah, so
something.
it's just shocking, but it just goes to show that anybody from anywhere are able to do anything that they want to in order to have success in life.
Yeah.
So
And I mean,
I'm definitely proud. I don't want to say I'm shocked, but it's just it's amazing to see how far you've come
yeah, I
with your
appreciate it.
business and what you've built so far. And I can see what you're doing taking off 1,000 miles an hour, you know, in the right direction. So, I definitely want to, give you props on that. Just
I
to wrap
appreciate it.
before we wrap up, where can people find you? Like, do you have a website, Facebook, Instagram? Where can people find you to hire you essentially?
So we've got a couple different platforms that people can find us on. So we have a Facebook page. It's the same as our business, the Trade Migos LLC. And we've got our work and our projects and stuff that we do, contact information on there, reviews on there. You can also find us on Google. You can find us on, there's an app, it's called Nextdoor. It's actually people that, it groups you with people that are in your community. But we've got a Nextdoor business account on there. So same thing. You can see all of our work, our contact information, our reviews are on there. So yeah, right now we use those three platforms, but we also like show some of our work. Like I've got a personal TikTok account, so I've actually had some of my work that I've posted. There's some of that on there. So I mean, the people that go onto that platform, you can see some of the work that I've done on there as well. So,
Well,
but
right
mainly
on.
just yeah, mainly just the three platforms, mainly just Facebook, Nextdoor, and then I mean you can type in the Trade Migos LLC in Google, and it's gonna pop up.
And what areas do you service? Just to make sure everyone knows, because I know you said you started out with Spokane, Spokane Valley, and Airway Heights, but do you service more areas now?
Yeah, so we're licensed for Spokane, Spokane Valley, and obviously, for any viewers that are outside of Washington, this is all in Washington State, but Spokane, Washington, Spokane Valley, Washington, Airway Heights, Washington, Cheney, Washington, Medical Lake, Washington, and Liberty Lake, Washington.
Nice, nice. So I mean, even just you listing off all your locations just now just shows how much you've grown. Because you started in three areas and now you're up to what, six different areas now?
Double, yeah, six.
So that's definitely a huge improvement. Um, but I just also, before we wrap up, I just want to say, Andrew, thank you for coming on the podcast, answering all these difficult questions that I had for you. You know, I've never found a dull moment having a conversation with you. Our conversations are always, you know, good conversations. We rarely have a bad one, but we definitely have
Yeah.
had bad conversations. Um,
Hey, that goes along with the 30 plus years of friendship. So,
It's been an amazing 30 plus years of being friends with you. So I'm definitely, again, I want to say how proud and how amazed I am by where you've started and where you are now. You got a great business. You have a wonderful family. You have amazing three kids. And, you're just doing it, man. And it's awesome. It's awesome.
I appreciate you bringing me up here and all that stuff too, man. Because I mean, it seems like you're getting going on your journey too. So, and I mean, obviously, I mean, I know your daughter and all. I mean, you're doing your thing too, bro. I see it. So, I mean, you know, it takes one to know one, brother. It takes one to know
Hell
one.
yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you for listening and joining on our podcast. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification. That way, it tells you every time we post, not only when we're live, when we post uh, podcasts, and when we post short videos. All right. Well, hopefully, you guys will all tune in next week for our special guest. All right. Andrew, have a good one, man. Thank you for being on. I appreciate it. Everyone, have a great day.
It's been a pleasure.
Later.